Why should we care about the cultures of dead white men? I'm standing right here in front of the Colosseum, and I just think back to my literature class, I think back to my history class, and the rage going on within academia, within universities, within social studies and humanities departments is that the individual doesn't matter. Only race matters, only gender, only sexuality matters. These kind of collectivist notions of history. In that case, if that's true, then we don't need to care about the cultures of dead white men because they're long gone. They probably were racists anyway. Their culture is not the culture we should be caring about. But I think if we remind ourselves back into the ancient era, back into the ancient times, and we look at these great architectural triumphs like the Colosseum, this is genuinely a triumph. If you look into the Colosseum, which my dad and I toured the other day, you see this incredible architectural feat that people in the modern era even struggle with. That Colosseum held 70,000 people. 70,000 people. That's bigger than most baseball stadiums. That's just about the size of a typical football stadium. You look and you marvel at these triumphs, at these architectural feats, and you wonder, why do they do this? Why would someone spend 100 years constructing this? Or why would Michelangelo spend his entire life building the top floor of the Sistine Chapel? And the answer is because they believed in something. They believed in their civilization. The ancient Romans believed that their culture was the greatest culture in the entire world. That's why they built these feats, like the Colosseum, like the Roman Forum, like what we're standing here in Rome today. They believed in their culture. Why did they believe in their culture? Because they believed that they were divinely sanctioned by God to build things like this. Charles Cook gives a prominent political theorist, tells us about the belief in the supernatural, the belief in the divine narrative that people have that builds up civilization. People build things like the Colosseum because they believe that God ordained them to, or they believe, in this case, in the Romans' case, they believe that their pagan gods divinely sanctioned Rome to be the capital of their nation, to be the capital of the entire world, that allowed them to spread. Without belief in a narrative, without belief in a grand narrative, there would be no Colosseum. There would probably be no Western civilization. There would probably be no civilization at all. And I think today in contemporary society, we need to remember that we all believe in a narrative. In fact, we have to believe in a narrative, because if we don't believe in a narrative, we don't believe in anything grand that creates us, that makes us great. We don't believe in that, then there's no reason for us to produce anything. There's no reason for us to create the architectural feats that make up the Colosseum, that make up the Roman Forum, that make up this great city of civilization. So, when we go back to our history, sociology classes, when we go back to our humanities classes, let us remember that just as the Romans believed in a narrative, we as Americans believe in a narrative too. And that we cannot just simply deconstruct everything on the basis of race and gender and sexuality if we have nothing to reconstruct our foundations upon. In this case, the foundations upon Western civilization lay in this belief by the Roman Empire that they were the greatest civilization in the world. What does that mean for us? What does that mean for Americans? Do we believe that we're the greatest civilization in the world? And if we don't, what do we believe? That's what architecture, that's what learning the narratives and the culture of dead white men like the Romans can tell us.